No Grow Go podcast. I'm Matt Jordan, and the senior pastor here at First Methodist Church Enterprise, and welcome to our new setup. Welcome to our living room. We are glad that you are here with us. We're trying something new where we continually have a guest, and we also want to make sure that it's comfortable. And who knows, maybe in the future, depending on people's schedules, there may be some long range or long time content, whatever they call it when you're talking in a podcast for hours on end, like Joe Rogan and Sean Ryan and those guys. So long form podcast. So that may be in the future for us, the more comfortable that we are. And, there's always going to be more coffee and maybe even some coffee with the church logo on it or something like that for us. But we hope that you enjoy our time together on our new setup. A few things I want to point out to you that are really, really important and kind of foundational to the reason we do this podcast and the reason we have our ministry. You'll notice here a few things. One, you'll notice the chalice. That is a replica, I guess you could say. It is a chalice cup we used to do communion in, but it got dropped and is now put back together with epoxy, which may be how you feel every day when you wake up in the morning of how Jesus has put you back together. But the ministry of the sacraments for us is so crucial to who we are, both as believers and as Methodists. That Christ being present in the elements, his real presence in communion and in baptism are definitive of who we are as believers. And we really believe that the sacraments for us are essential. And in ministry, we believe that our ministry is the ministry of the sacraments. So that's crucial for us. The other thing you'll see is the globe. Now, this globe is a life-size replica of the size of the earth. Not really. That came from Hobby Lobby. But our call in life as believers in Jesus is to go into the world, to go make disciples of every nation, to go to the world. And so for us, that's a symbol that this is part of our conversation too as believers in Jesus, the sacraments and the world. The other two things you see here, a couple of books. One of those is Strong's Concordance, representative of our diligence to study God's Word. And another one is a book of worship from the Lutheran faith. This actually belonged to one of our church members, Wink Winkler, who passed away a few years ago. Wink was a great mentor of mine, but something that we try to make crucial in our ministry is to be ecumenical. How can we continue making disciples and spreading the gospel across all avenues of church life? And to do that, we have to be in connection with other people. The last thing, and it's perhaps my favorite, is the little black thing that you see, fueled by Jesus and coffee. And that is really what makes this podcast go. Jesus, coffee, and if you ask Scott, probably golf as well. And so we are glad that you are a part of our podcast. Today, we have Ms. Melisa Egan, who is our children's director, our kids' men director. You have probably seen her in all her crazy outfits on different Sundays of VBS or for Dr. Seuss or whatever. Dr. Seuss week, Melisa came in looking like she was one of the thing one or thing two. And I was like, what in the world is going on today? She says, Dr. Seuss week, I'm reading to the kids. And I was like, no.
Anytime you can dress up in a tutu, I don't pass that up, okay?
I feel like that's something the world didn't need to see of me, dressed up in a tutu. But maybe so. No, there's never a chance that that's going to happen. Never. But we are thankful that Melissa's a part of our team. She's our kids' men director. She's been a part of the church off and on for 20-something years. So she is one of the most experienced members of our team on board with us. And today, Melisa.
It's VBS.
It is VBS. That's right. It is VBS. And listen, let me tell you something.
Yes. Here's your yard sign.
Here's your sign. Make sure that you are getting together for VBS to volunteer.
Yes.
And get your yard sign. Melisa, tell us about VBS. Tell us the theme. Tell us the verse. Tell us all the things.
If you don't know this about me, VBS is my favorite week of the entire year. I love everything about it. The craziness, all the kids.
Are you going to say that at the end too? That this is your favorite time of the year? Okay, I have to make sure.
I say this every year, going into it, coming out of it, working 12-hour days, decorating all of it. It is my favorite week of the whole year.
Okay.
I love VBS. This year, our VBS is road trip. We are going it's on the go with God. And this time we do, I'm going to have to read it because I cannot remember them all. Our main verse is, the Lord your God is with you wherever you go, Joshua 1:9. And then our Bible stories, we do Abraham and Sarah follow God. The Israelites take the scenic route. Mary and Elizabeth's family reunion, and On the Road with Paul.
Okay.
So we get to do, every day we have a different Bible story. We do, we do dinner, not snacks.
Sure.
We do dinner. We feed the kids. We eat first. We do an opening where we have music. We have crafts that night. We have dinner. We have all kinds of fun stuff.
Okay.
Science experiments too.
Okay.
Kids always love the science. Games, everything.
You know, science is one of those things that is always so fun for me because I always learn something too.
Yes.
I do. And I love VBS for a variety of reasons. One of the main reasons that I love VBS, Melissa, is because it gives me an excuse to do two things. To be bold about Jesus.
Yes.
And to drink as much caffeine as humanly possible.
You have to drink caffeine. You have to have a lot of coffee that week.
That's right. VBS day is normally for me coffee, Celsius, and Red Bull. I mean, it's generally my three drinks of choice throughout that day.
I don't know if you should have that much.
And nothing's impossible with the Lord.
It is not.
That's what Scripture tells us. That's
and
what
He's
Scripture
with
tells
you
us.
wherever you go.
That's it. Yeah. Look, even if it's to the hospital.
Oh my gosh. The science experiments are so cool this year.
Oh, yeah?
We have one they get to use dry ice with.
Okay, I'm pulling something up.
I don't think they're blowing something up, but they're watching reactions and things. We have, crafts. They're going to make actual crafts that you want to keep, like keychains and the little mirror, the ones that hang in your car from your mirror, things like that.
Okay.
It's going to be, it'll be so much fun.
That's awesome.
We have about 70-something volunteers so far.
70 volunteers.
And right now we have 50 kids registered.
So when we say 70 volunteers,
yes,
I want you to tell me two things.
Okay.
One, what do those volunteers do? And then the second thing I want you to tell me is why it's important to have that many volunteers.
What the volunteers are doing, honestly, I prepare beforehand the VBS. They run the VBS. They usher their kids. They're called guides this time. They take the kids from station to station. They're the ones preparing the food. We have volunteers that'll set out the chairs for the kids for dinner. We clean up all our trash, and we have people that do all of that. We have people at each station that leads all the games, that does the crafts, that prepares all that. That all of next week, I have different volunteers that does all the decorating, because we'll turn the whole church into a road trip.
That's right.
So without the volunteers, there's no way we could do this entire VBS.
Okay.
And then what was the second part?
The second question was, why do you need that many volunteers?
Again, you cannot do VBS without volunteers. We had 75 volunteers last year, and every single one of them we had a spot for.
So let me ask you this, because with VBS, it takes 70 to 75 volunteers. Our hope is to have 100 plus kids.
Yes.
Last year we hit that number, didn't we?
We hit right at 90 last year.
And our goal is also in the way that we give folks opportunities to serve for volunteers. That's important. The whole church transforms for VBS.
Yes.
And I mean
Fellowship Hall on down.
It's unrecognizable.
Yes.
The only other event to me that comes close to this is if you've ever seen our Fellowship Hall before and after the Habitat for Humanity Fatherhood Dance.
Yes.
Where it just looks like an ice castle inside.
Yes.
But I say that because it takes a lot of resources. It takes funding. It takes buy-in from volunteers, trust from families. It takes so much. Tell me why, and tell our listeners why VBS is worth that much investment on behalf of the church and the people. It's 4 days, so you know.
Let me tell you a story.
Story
time. It's a short one.
Okay.
There was a little boy one time that his kidmin director asked the little boy. They were talking to him and asking him about church and where he went. He was telling them he went to their church. They were like, "We don't know this kid. He doesn't go here." That child went to VBS there. So he claimed that church as his own. That right there tells you how important VBS is. A kid that may not go anywhere else all year, but a week of VBS at a church, they're going to tell you that's their church. A lot of times we have more unchurched kids than our own kids at these events. So this is a week that we get to share Jesus with them. We get to love on them. We get to be a safe space for them.
Okay.
And that alone, that if we can reach one kid, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And we reach way more than that. Like last year, we had a little kid that every time they were talking about the Bible verse and stuff, he told his leader, I don't have a Bible at home. So we instantly went and got Bibles to pass out to the kids.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. You know, we, when I was younger in college, I got to volunteer with Fellowship of Christian Athletes a time or two. And some of that we committed our whole summer. And it was the way they communicated it. I was in the second class of interns for Northeast Alabama FCA, and a lot's changed since then. I got a friend of mine that her and I text back and forth, and we're like, "Can you believe this? This is not how they have an office. We're meeting in the old parsonage of the church." But anyways, one of the things they always said was, when you're doing this, you're going on mission.
Yes.
You're doing like a mission trip. You may not leave the 5-county area that Northeast Alabama FCA worked within, but you're going on mission.
Yes.
And part of it was the amount of unchurched kids that you were involved with sport camps and things. But the other is when we were in Albertville, the communities that we did sports camp, and this is leading into what I'm communicating about VBS, was Albertville. We did one in Coleman County. We did one in Hampton Cove, and then we did one in Madison County, Huntsville side of things. And so we did all of those in one summer. And Albertville was always my favorite because that's where I grew up going to sports camp. That was my first time going to FCA, was the Albertville sports camp. And you won't know who these people are, but John Davis Phillips and John Kroll and Brody came a time or two, and some others. They're former Alabama quarterbacks and athletes and things. Professional athletes, they would come and they would volunteer time to do it. And some of them, I think, didn't volunteer as I got older, but it seemed like they did. A lot of them would come out of the woodwork just to help the kids with sports, and it was really cool. But anyways, the thing that they always said about the Albertville camp is it was a community that was a little more impoverished than some of the others. Some of the other communities, that was like the icing on the cake. Some of these kids at the end of the week were leaving and going to, they were leaving and heading out to different Disney World trips and all the other things, like sports camp finished and off they went.
Yeah.
But Albertville was not that way. Albertville was Disney World.
Yes.
And for those kids, they would come, and I was like, that makes total sense. And every student leader that we had, even the ones that would every camp had some volunteers that would come about just from the church that was hosting the camp or whatever it may be. But man, I tell you what, Albertville was always the one that everybody always said, that is my favorite camp. The kids were more respectful. They were so excited. They were eager to be there because that was the only thing they were doing this summer. Mm-hmm. And it made a world of difference. And when I think about VBS, there's a lot that goes through my mind. And every time that I get to a position in my mind to say, is one event that we put so much resources in worth it in comparison to maybe taking those and doing backyard Bible camps in multiple spaces or whatever? My thought process always goes back to that there is some kid who is coming to say, this is my Disney World for the summer. It's the only thing I'm getting to do. And it means the world to them.
It does.
And especially too, I'll be honest with you, in Coffee County, there are some kids that will come to VBS and that'll be the only meal that they eat that week.
Yes. And that's part of the reason with doing nighttime and we feed dinner, that we don't do a snack then. We're trying to make sure they get a good meal for the night.
Yeah. And actually that's something I have seen, and I applaud you for doing it. There are always two different ways to do VBS, in the morning time or in the afternoon.
At night, yes.
depending on the research, and I think depending on the culture, both make sense.
Yes.
Wherever you're at, right? And we've got, like First Baptist on the other end of Main Street. They do theirs there in the morning. And other churches, especially rural churches where you've got a lot of working class people that can't get off of work or don't have a lot of educators free and those sorts of things. A lot of times they have to do it in the evening for volunteer pool. And for us, we're kind of in a mixed group.
Yes, we could almost do either time. I do have several volunteers that couldn't if we did mornings because of their jobs. Mm-hmm. But like most of our students could do either way or something.
Yeah.
Last year, we had never tried a night one. I thought I'm not sure if any other churches right here in Enterprise, like our downtown area, does the nighttime VBS. And I thought it would be an amazing outreach. And like you were saying, to reach some of those kids that may not be getting fed, or if we didn't feed them dinner, they're not getting it that week and stuff. And I was wanting to try more outreach.
Well, and I think it also brings up a point that's so important too. And it's, who is VBS for? And VBS is for both the kids,
yes,
and the volunteers. Us. And so I think that when you look at it and say attendance may be a difference of a few children here or there, and listen, you and I both know families make a priority for what they want to make a priority for. But I think on the other side of that equation is when we talk about opportunities for our members of our church to volunteer, if it limits a significant amount of people to do it in the morning for our church, we need to do it in the evening.
Yes. And there's several that do, they work all day. Mm-hmm. Even a lot of our students either have jobs during the summer or different sports camps they do. That was going to limit some of them not being able to do it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to try it last year. Our volunteers loved it at night. The kids, the only complaint I got was make it till 8:00 and not 8:30. Everybody was like, we cannot last till 8:30. We're like, that 30 minutes is too much.
Yeah.
So we shortened it till 8:00 this year.
Okay.
So, and we let preschoolers and kindergartners have an outside time. So they get to just free play for 15 minutes too every night.
Lord.
Yes, every night.
So, let me ask you this. So, in making decisions for VBS, changes, things like that, do you do that in isolation, or do you have a team and a committee that kind of helps you with that?
I talk with Amy, our family man. I talk with you, Matt.
Listen, you don't know anything about Melisa and Amy. They are best buds. They have connected really well. And let me tell you something. I'm almost about to move Amy's office into half of Melissa's.
She's in there anyway.
Because she's in there anyways. And it's this is what I love about our church and our church staff and the direction that we're going is family ministries is so crucial to us that even our staff has said, hey, if I'm planning out confirmation.
Yes, we work together.
How does that affect children?
Yes.
Right. And so and when we say this is a focus that we're having in students, how does that affect children and vice versa? And so everybody communicates that so well and buys in on it that it's really neat to see the cohesiveness, not just in staff, but in ministry of talking about, hey, VBS in the morning is great, but my students can't help and they want to help.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. So anyways, if you come in our office and you see Amy and Melisa sitting there, it's not that
always together.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that they're not working, because I'll be honest with you, I walk by there because the coffee pot's right beside Melissa's office. That's where I spend a lot of time. And so I walk over there and I hear them talking, whether that's about who Jesus is and how they're going to talk about the faith. And, it's not just, very rarely.
Yeah. We honestly work so well together. We plan all, we talk about our camps, our VBS, her students volunteering for stuff. Like this past Sunday night, the kids and students went together to putt to play. I mean, we do it. We plan so much together because when it's family ministry, it has to include us all.
That's right.
But for VBS, to answer your question, no, I do not do any of that in isolation. I talk to my KidMin team. I talk to like any of my volunteers that do volunteering at VBS, I talk to them asking their opinion of stuff to see if they need to change anything, what was working for them. When I give them their books like this for all their stations and everything, I always tell them to go through it, let me know what they need. If they don't want to do something in it for that day and they find something else they like better, I'm like, as long as we are staying on topic and doing our Bible story, we can change things. We can fix it. What works for you and the kids.
So who all is on your KidMin team?
My KidMin team, my actual planning KidMin team is Mary Evelyn, Amanda.
That's my wife. Pull Billy. That's my wife.
Amanda Schleiger, Katie Stewart, Perry Dillard. Trying to go around the table the other night. Lori Carter. I feel like I've just left somebody out. If I've left you out, I am so sorry. I'm really sorry. Matt, don't make me name names.
Yeah, I know. I should have thought about that. Yeah.
Now I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, who did I leave out?
Yeah. But I think on your whole KidMin team, because you have a KidMin team and you got a planning team.
Yes.
I think. So
yes.
You've got 20 or so people, I think.
Oh, yes. The small one that's just like 5 or so there, that's the planning one where I take it to them, for instance, like with ideas for the summer. Hey, do y'all think this is going to work? Hey, we're going to implement something new. What do you think about this? And I run it by them first before I ever put it out to anybody else. Sure. And because if they're like, well, this is not going to work, Melissa, we need to wait on that, then I'm not going to present it to anybody else. So we met a little while back, went over all that. That was one of the things with the VBS they brought up instantly was it has to end at 8:00, Melissa, and 4 days. I said yes.
Yeah,
so, those kind of things, we have to work as a team.
Right.
And with VBS, you cannot do, if you did not have a team and 70-something volunteers, we would never be able to do a good VBS. You cannot do it by yourself at all. Okay.
And I think that both worship and mission should never be done in isolation.
No.
You've got to have conversations with others.
Yes.
They can see your blind spots. They understand and see things differently. For example, so this past Sunday, or 2 Sundays ago, maybe, Marilyn and I went to Wings Chapel on Fort Novosel. And we were there. Some of the chaplains are getting ready to PCS, and which those of you that aren't from military community, they're getting ready to move to another station, gets into a new duty station. And there are 3 or 4 chaplains getting moved, and some of their volunteers that are like key volunteers in their chapel and stuff on post. And I volunteer with their VBS. I'm volunteering again this year with their VBS, and I try to be out there regularly to help minister with them. And in conversations with them, they said, "Hey, we're doing this farewell reception. Anyways, long story short, Amy preached for me. Marilyn and I and the boys went, and I thought the boys would like make it fine through the service, And the last time probably that actually, I'll be honest with you, I have never once sat through an entire worship service with the boys. Because I'm preaching.
You are.
And if we're not
used to getting to go to nursery after party.
Yeah, that's it. And if we're not at church, if we're not at our church, then it's normally that we are not at a church, or it's not a Sunday. I try.
Yeah, we all try.
I try not to miss a Sunday. Yes. But I say that because we got to go to the nursery. And let me tell you something. When you walk into a nursery and you don't know anybody, that's my first experience. Churches that I've worked at, there's been a nursery, I know them. I see them every day, every week. I know who they are. I know where the room is. I know who to call. I know the background check. I know every bit of information. And
this is strangers.
Yeah, that's it. And Maribel's like, "Is there a nursery here?" I was like, "Yeah, there's a nursery." Because I remember from VBS, I was like, "All right, the nursery's in the back." It was a whole year ago. I was like, "I think it's back this way." We started walking back there, and Maribel's like, "Do you know these people?" I said, "I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know these people, but I have volunteered with Fort Novosel, and so I can tell you." Their fingerprints are in the federal government system, and their background check is ridiculous. I said, it took me weeks to get approved.
Yes, it does.
And I said, so I'm okay with that. But walking in and then seeing them, my thought was like, okay, am I going to remember where this room is? And what is this person's name? Are my boys going to be okay? Are they going to get along with everybody? All these things. Well, what was so crazy is one of the kids in there went to John Graham's daycare. So I was like, well, that's great. And John Graham saw all this stuff, and he's like, oh, I want to go play. Because he's going to the nursery when he gets little rowdy, you know. And I got a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, so we spend a lot of time in the nursery. But they just absolutely loved it.
Yes.
But I never got to experience that. So now when I look at our church nursery after Sunday, I'm like, somebody here better be smiling. Somebody better be smiling. Somebody better be shaking hands. You know, we need to butter it up, because let me tell you something. That is a nervous feeling when you take your pride and joys
to the nursery for the first time.
Hey, stranger, that's been cleared by other strangers that I don't know. Here's my child. So I say that to say, as a staff member, our thought process a lot of times is directed towards the whole big picture, right? But we have volunteers who look at it and say, like, you know, for me, if we leave VBS at 8:30 or if we leave VBS at 10:30 p.m., doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
I'm a staff member. Yeah. Right? That's what time we leave in VBS.
Exactly.
But for volunteers and parents saying this needs to end at 8 p.m., that's good insight. And you don't have that unless you have a team.
Well, that was me. I was like, 8:30 is not going to be that bad. It's the summer. It'll be perfect. Kids will be fine. Everybody was like, Melissa, at 8 o'clock, these kids are done. They're like, we can't do this for 30 more minutes. They're like, they need home by now. And I was like, you don't think 30 minutes, but that 30 minutes makes a big difference.
It does.
And that's what I was like, you know what? I've got to listen to them.
So I want to end us with 2 things. One, I want you to tell me like your favorite story from VBS. Okay. Now listen, this could be funny. This can be serious. This can be moving. If it involves shame, don't say it. And if it involves a volunteer that you're like, I can't believe this volunteer did this, it was so funny but so bad, don't share that one either. Okay. But if you have a funny story about a child or a game or an experiment that went awry, science or whatever.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. All right. Share your favorite.
Well, actually my favorite things about VBS, one of them, I like everything, is, and I know sometimes you think with me, I'm a little bougie and might not like all this, but I love the last night when we do something crazy, when we get pie in our face. I have been slimed. I've had to kiss a pig. I've done all kinds of crazy stuff. That is one of my favorite things, because the kids absolutely think it's the greatest thing ever that you will do these things.
Listen, let me tell you something.
I love that.
Let me tell you something. One time, I want to say they did it with shaving cream, but it was a couple of years ago. I got pied in the face.
Yes.
And the kids were so excited to the point that they would bring items to dinner, and they would, on the last night, one kid walked up with a handful of things and he said, "You're going down."
Yes.
And dropped it. And to see that excitement for them.
Because they love that. Yeah. The year we did slime, it was some homemade concoction that was horrible, okay? It was awful. It felt horrible. Like I had it in my hair for days, in my ears. Yeah. You would take showers and there would be slime falling out.
I'm pretty sure I caught a cold from the shaving cream.
Oh, it was awful. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that is one of my favorite things about it, is the kids get into it. They're so excited to see who's going to get it. And they just love that you did that. Yeah. Because the other thing is that you're an adult and you're doing that. And they think that's the best thing ever.
That's right. Yeah,
that is one of my absolute favorite things.
Okay. Well,
so it's doing the crazy stuff.
Well, tell us another one about maybe a child that's touched you or something that's just keeps you coming back for VBS.
There was a little girl last year. We were giving out prizes at the end, and she got a prize. And when she started to leave, she was crying, and we were like, "Well, you got a prize, honey. What's wrong?" Her little twin sister didn't get one, so she was crying because she didn't want a prize if she didn't get one.
Bless her heart.
Yes.
Bless her heart.
And like just some of the kids, we had a little kid one time. Oh my goodness. We were making bags for foster kids.
Mm-hmm. Remember that.
This little boy came up and told us that he was a foster kid and he didn't have a bag for his stuff. So it just hit home. We were like, that we're making these, and for him to come up and be like, "I don't have a bag for my stuff."
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's very touching, like, and just listening to the kids.
Yeah.
Like, you will see kids that go to our VBS somewhere else during the summer, and they seriously will run up and hug you and be like, I know you. You were at my VBS and stuff. And there's nothing better than that when kids tell you that.
That's awesome.
And that they're all about Jesus, and we can share that with them and things, and that they know the stories and answer them and stuff. And by that last night, they're singing all the songs and things. It is just, I love everything about it, Matt.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, as we get ready to close, VBS,
yes,
go to fmce.church. And if you go to ministries or events, if you just start clicking around on the church website, you'll find where it says register for the road trip. And when you register on there, that registers online, call the church office, pre-K through 6th grade, June 16th to the 19th, 5:30 to 8. And listen, if you are someone in the community watching our podcast and you say, Matt, I would love to put a sign in my yard, text us, call us.
We'll bring you one.
We'll bring it to you. If you need one for your front yard, let us know. We will get you one. Just don't put it in your backyard because it's for everybody else to see, okay? But make sure to help us get the word out. Melissa, is there anything else you want anybody to
If you want to volunteer for VBS, let me know. You can also register online for that.
Awesome.
And another one, if you, for some reason, I've had people that they want to volunteer, but they're not real good with kids, and they're like, well, what could I do? I'll be honest, first pray for us, more than anything, pray. Also, just a monetary donation. We are feeding, with 4 nights, feeding volunteers and kids is about 800 or more meals. And that's a lot of money, even when we can get things donated. So we would appreciate any type of monetary donations would help so much with it.
Yeah,
and you can just mark the checks VBS. Wow. But yes, I am so excited. If you want to decorate, come on and help us.
Awesome. We need all the hands we can get.
Yes, anybody.
I can't tell you enough. Melissa said one thing you could do is pray for us.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Pray both for volunteers, and I'm serious when I say this. Pray for volunteers to understand the impact of the mission, but also pray for them to have patience. Children are the most wonderful and joyous creation of God. But sometimes, at the end of the day, if someone's coming off of work or whatever it may be, they may press some buttons. And pray for patience for adults, for the volunteers, and pray for the children to be receptive to the gospel. As they hear it every night, June 16th to the 19th, those 4 nights. And just pray for Melissa, for myself, and for others who are going to be taking in a significant amount of caffeine. Pray for us. So thank you. Join us, VBS, fmce.church, and you can find where to register as a volunteer and as a participant. And so we hope to see you soon. Melissa, thank you so much for being here.
Yes,
thank you.
You are welcome.
Y'all have a great week. Make sure to subscribe and share. Amen.